Okay, so you know that fantasy we all have, like ditching the daily grind and retiring to some charming village in Europe, maybe open a little bookstore, sip coffee in the town square.
It's a classic.
It is. And our deep dive today is about someone who actually did it. But buckle up because her journey has some twists and turns. You might even want to rethink your own retirement plans after this.
Yeah, what's fascinating about Catherine's story, which she shares in her Substack From Dream to Reality, is that, well, it shows just how different a fantasy is from, the actual messy reality of making a huge life change.
You can say that again, and trust me, she does not make it seem easier than it is. Like many of us, she starts out totally enchanted by the Algarve.
Of course, sun, beaches, that Portuguese term.
Exactly.
It's like the dream for so many people. And it's understandable. The Algarve has a lot to offer.
Right, especially for expats. But Catherine, well, she didn't stop at just, surface impressions. She actually started learning Portuguese.
Wow.
Yeah, like she was already picturing herself integrating into the whole local life there.
There's something about actually trying to speak the language of a place that changes your whole perspective.
Totally. And for Catherine, it was eye-opening. After all that, she realized the Algarve wasn't actually the right fit.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't just about a vacation home anymore. It was about finding a place to really belong.
Makes sense.
And that's when she stumbles upon Central Portugal. Not exactly the first place that comes to mind for retirement.
You're right. Most people, including myself, wouldn't think of it right away.
It's more undiscovered, you could say.
And this is where her story gets really captivating. She describes Central Portugal like, picture misty valleys, olive groves everywhere with this sense of, awe. Almost like she uncovered a hidden gem.
Totally. A place untouched by, all the craziness of modern life.
And it wasn't just a travel crush either.
Right.
She finds an old farmhouse, and get this, it becomes her dream retirement project.
Okay, but here's the thing, and this is a big one. Catherine isn't just planning to, spend her golden years there. She wants to build something that lasts.
Exactly. She imagines this whole property as a multi-generational place, for her kids, grandkids, everyone to connect. Way more than just retirement. It's about leaving something behind.
Legacy stuff. Okay, but let's get real for a sec, because this is where it gets, well, real. Catherine wanted to retire early, which meant getting her finances in order. And let me tell you, this woman dove headfirst into spreadsheets, pension plans.
Oh, I know that life. It's intense.
The works. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, right?
Absolutely. And what I find refreshing is that she doesn't try to make it seem like glamorous or anything. She talks about early withdrawal strategies, visa requirements, all the details that no one really tells you about.
Yeah.
But there's a deeper lesson here. It's not all about the numbers.
Right. It's about, well, actually enjoying life, right? Finding that balance.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine realized that richness in retirement isn't just about your bank account. It's about the life you build with it.
And it sounds like she found that in Central Portugal. It's like she found that sweet spot, living well, even on an early retirement budget. She talks about, slow mornings in the village square, how affordable fresh food is.
It's a different pace of life for sure.
Totally. One where you're not always chasing the next paycheck.
And that reminds me, she talks about this whole expat bubble thing, like how important it was for her to actually, immerse herself, not get stuck in that.
Right.
Learning Portuguese wasn't just for fun. It was part of that.
It's one thing to order a coffee in another language, but to really talk to your neighbors, connect.
Yeah, huge difference.
And she's honest about it not being easy.
Oh, for sure. She tells these funny stories about messing up the language. Like, one time, she was trying to say something nice about her neighbor's garden, and it came out like she was talking about a runaway goat.
Yeah.
But she didn't let it stop her. That's what's great.
She even says those awkward moments sometimes led to the best connections.
Really?
Yeah. It's like by not being afraid to be a little vulnerable, a whole new level of experience opened up.
That's cool. And, it connects back to her idea about the family compound.
Mm-hmm.
Creating a space where her family can really connect with, their Portuguese roots, not just visit.
It's deeper than a vacation home, for sure.
Way deeper. Building something real.
And she's got big plans, let me tell you. Vineyards.
Oh, wow.
Which, come on. Who hasn't thought about having their own vineyard? Sipping wine overlooking the countryside.
It's an image.
Right.
And she even mentions, maybe a yoga retreat. So not just enjoying it herself, but sharing it.
I love that. But creating something that big, especially abroad, it's got to come with challenges. Legal stuff, family dynamics, managing property from afar.
Oh, tons. And that's where, her experience as a coach really shows she's open about it being a work in progress. Like, there will be bumps, disagreements, things you don't expect, but it's about rolling with it.
That willingness to adapt, be flexible. I mean, a lot of us would have clung to that Algarve dream, even when it was, like, clearly not right anymore.
It's true. Take self-awareness to admit when your vision needs to change. And
Sure.
Catherine, she gets that.
And she does it all with such a good sense of humor, too. Doesn't shy away from laughing at herself, the craziness of it all.
That's what makes it relatable, I think.
Totally. It's like she's saying, this whole life change thing, it's messy, unpredictable, definitely not always pretty, but man, is it rewarding. And that's huge, look, for anyone thinking of doing something similar, right?
Absolutely.
It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy. But the reality is, it takes work and resilience.
Resilience, for sure. And a good laugh every now and then.
It's like she's saying it's okay to not have it all figured out, you know? Just embrace the chaos, the detours.
Totally. That's such a good point. It
Oh.
takes the pressure off. You don't have to be ready, Just start and figure it out along the way.
Learn as you go.
Exactly. And sometimes you end up somewhere you never even imagined.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if Catherine had stuck with, only the Algarve.
Right.
She would have missed out on this whole other experience.
Totally different chapter. It makes you wonder what we're missing by, limiting ourselves to those initial ideas,
For sure. We get stuck on how we think things should be.
Exactly. What if, and maybe this is like Catherine's story, what if our dream life is actually way more, I don't know, interesting than we could ever plan for?
It's about being open to that, being willing to, go off script a little.
And see what happens. Who knows? You might find something even better than you imagined.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up Catherine's story, what, really stood out to you? What's that one thing you're taking away from all this?
For me, it's that reminder that it's never too late to build a life you really connect with, one that means something. Catherine shows that if you're willing to embrace change, go after what you love.
It can happen.
It can. And you can build something that lasts.
It's pretty inspiring when you think about it. Maybe, and this is just me thinking out loud, maybe we all have a little bit of Catherine in us.
Well.
That desire to break free, do something more fulfilling, something more us.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, we're not all moving to Portugal tomorrow, but we can all have that same adventurous spirit.
Be open to something new.
Exactly. Step outside that comfort zone and create a life that, lights you up.
I love that. So what will your Central Portugal be? That's something to think about as we wrap up for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.